This game is so beautiful. Hi my friend and welcome to the channel. I am Richard Genders and you're watching Genders Gaming, a channel dedicated to analog games. Today I'm gonna bring you up into space again and show you a game that I have already spoken about 3 times before. I'm talking about Moonrakers. Moonrakers is the base game, and you need to know how to play the base game to understand what I'm talking about today. If you want to know more about this game here and how you play it, you should check out my video up here, because there I go through the base game and how to play it so you will understand what I'm actually talking about today. Because today I'm not going to talk about the base game, I'm going to talk about an expansion to the base game, Nomad. Now, Nomad is a part of the Titan expansion, and I have done a video on the 2 other expansions as well, Binding Tides and Overload. This is the 3rd one, Nomad, and this brings a whole new dimension to the game. You get a new board, you get new event cards, and I can't wait to show you this, so let's just have a look at it. So this is the setup of Nomad. As you can see here, we have a new board, the navigation board, and we have removed the old dispatch board. The setup of the armory command terminals are just like the base game, but of course the navigation board is brand new. Here we have an event deck up in the top left corner, and we have split out the contracts matching each color of the 5 different sectors. In the center of the board we have put our ships, but we will also put our ships at 0 on the new prestige board. So Nomad is an expansion to the base game Moonrakers and brings in a whole new board to this game. Also a new phase. Now in between the different turns, the mission leader starts their turn by drawing an event card. But you also have the navigation board, where you can move around your ship and take the contracts that are corresponding to each sectors. And now you can't ally with anyone on the table. You need to be adjacent to the players that you want to be allies with. But let's start with the event phase. At the start of every mission leader's turn, they need to draw an event card. And these can be, well, events, but they can also be policies. And they don't only affect the mission leader, no, they affect everybody in the game. And these can be different events that forces you to move, but they can also be policies that affects the game rules. You can see if it is an event or a policy by reading the top line. An event can force travel, present interesting decisions, or provide rewards. But policies are decisions that all players need to vote about, and they can change the rules of the game in different ways. Let's start by looking at some of the different events. Like I told you, these events don't only affect the mission leader, but all of the players. Meaning that this one over here, for example, all players may roll a dice, and if they roll a blank, for example, they gain 2 credits. But if they roll 1 hazard, nothing happens. If they roll 2 hazards, they actually lose 1 credit. But this one says may, meaning that all players choose if they want to be a part or not. This one in the center, Ritual Levitation, says that all players needs to travel to Magoni sector. Then they can choose if they want to trash a card or not. The last one here, Prison Break, says that you should draw crew cards equal to the number of players. In this case 2. Then the player with the lowest prestige get to choose 1 card. And then the turn goes on to the player with the next highest prestige, and they get to choose a card. And so on until our cards are drawn. That was an event. Quite simple, right? You read what's on the card, and then all players may or maybe have to do what it says on the card. But what about a policy? Because these cards are quite different. If a mission leader draws a policy, they first need to read what it says on the card, and then make sure that all of the players understands what this card will do to the gameplay. This one here, for example, champion sponsor. Gain 2 credits each time you lose a prestige. Now, once everybody have understood what this policy is about, it's time for us to vote. All players vote simultaneously by putting a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If the policy passes, it's put in the active policy area on the navigation board. If it does not pass, it is discarded. If there's ever a tie, the mission leader decides if it passes or not. If the policy is voted through and all players are more or less happy about it, this policy will stay active until a new one takes its place. So that was the event phase. The mission leader takes up an event card and reads it out loud. Either it is an event affecting the game and the players, or it's a policy affecting the rules and also all the players. Now we move into how you actually choose a contract in the Nomad expansion. In Nomad, you reveal contracts by entering a sector. When you're entering, for example, this sector here, Geek, you reveal 3 of the contracts in that sector. To choose a contract, the mission leader must travel to that sector. And they do that by moving their little spaceship to an adjacent sector. Adjacent being a sector next to the one you are in, and not diagonal. Once you have traveled to the sector you would like to visit, you simply take the top 3 contracts from that pile and put them beneath the board. You can still choose to stay at base. You can do this at the start of your turn, but you can also do it after you have traveled to a sector and revealed the contracts. Staying at base has the same effects as the base game in Nomad. So once we have revealed the contracts, we simply move on just like in the base game, going on with the planning phase. And like I told you before, you can still bring allies with you to complete the contracts, but your ally needs to be adjacent to you on the board. Adjacent is not diagonal, they need to be next to you. But we have the 4 sectors down here. But up here we have a 5th sector, and this one is quite special. This sector up here is called Sorelia, and it is locked in the beginning of the game. To be able to open this sector, you need to complete a special contract. When that contract has been fulfilled, we simply open this sector by flipping the card open. Now revealing Sorelia. The sector Sorelia of course has its own contracts, just like the other sectors. But on some of these we have a new symbol, meaning that on these ones you can get a Sorelia prototype that you can attach to your ship. These are instead of the ordinary crew or ship parts. That's how you add Nomad into the base game of Moonrakers. It's really not that hard, right? You remove the dispatch board, you put in the navigation board instead, you reveal events and you vote if it's a policy, and you simply do what's on the card if it is an event. Then you move your ship around, you reveal the contracts, and from there on, you just keep on going with the base game rules. This expansion changes the game quite a bit, to my opinion at least. I think the new contracts makes a big difference, and the moving around here on the little board makes picking contracts a bit more challenging. You need to understand which type of sectors you would like to go to get the contracts that you would like to complete. And the Sorelia sector up here with their special ship parts upgrades the ship in a whole new way. I think I've said this about all the expansions to the Moonrakers base game, and this is no different. It makes a big difference to the game. The Overload, the Binding Ties expansion, and the Nomad expansion changes the game quite a lot, but still keeps the mechanic from the base game and just combines them in a beautifully well-made way. And again, this is a prototype, but it's so beautiful. I mean, this is pretty much like a high-end game that you would get anywhere, but this is just a prototype and it's so well made. Beautiful, You still have the same cool artwork, the same colors. Everything just goes hand in hand with the base game and just enhances the experience a lot. That was the Nomad expansion for you that you add to the Moonrakers base game. I have to say that normally I'm not that keen to expansions because I usually think that the base game is quite enough. But these expansions here makes a lot of difference for the base game and actually changes the game a lot. Enough for you to want to take out all the expansions, put them together, play the base game with just one expansion or several expansions and try your way forward to get the perfect gameplay just for you and your playgroup. This one changes the game quite a lot. Adds a new board, adds new contract, new ship parts. Man, it's just absolutely beautiful. If you take this and the Overload expansion, you would basically have a brand new game here. I mean, this is just so well made. There's a Kickstarter coming out on this really soon, and there will be links down in the description. So be sure to check that out if you want to know more. If you like my videos, if you like my channel, be sure to put in a comment there, give me a like. Why not subscribe to the channel? It gives me a smile on my lips every time I get a new subscriber. And until next week, people, please remember to keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace.